Two people can spend the same $87 and buy two completely different lives for the night. One person orders dinner after a brutal day, eats, sleeps, and gets through the week without turning the kitchen into another job. Worth it. Another person pays the same $87 because the app was already open, the fees showed up at the end, and there was food in the fridge they were too tired to turn into dinner. Same charge, different purchase. That is the line this video is about. Some things did not become evil. They just expired. The streaming app you forgot to rotate. The premium tier that mostly buys a nicer feeling. The warranty that sells fear at checkout. The cheap shirt that becomes expensive after 6 washes. The wellness product that sells the version of you who starts Monday. The device upgrade that mostly upgrades your envy. This is not a video about becoming cheap. Cheap is random. Cheap cuts dinner with friends and leaves the subscription stack alone. Cheap cancels joy and keeps the fees. This is about editing. By the end, every expense has to answer one question. Did it buy attention, time, health, or leverage? If it did, it can stay. If it only bought identity, frictionless convenience, or the feeling of being the kind of person who has options, it has to reapply for the job. And yes, the 2026 context matters. The margin is still thin for a lot of households. The latest Federal Reserve Household Report, published in 2025, using 2024 data, found that only 63% of adults could cover a $400 emergency with cash or equivalent. BEA consumer spending and PCE price pages checked on May 6 showed April 30, 2026 current releases. So the pressure is real, but the tone is not panic. Panic makes people cut randomly. A good filter helps people cut accurately. Here is the small test I like. Imagine the payment doubled next month and nobody knew whether you kept it. If you would cancel immediately, the purchase was living on inertia, not value. That does not make you careless, it makes you normal. Modern money leaks are designed to be easy to start and mildly annoying to stop. The win is making exit feel ordinary. The filter has 4 jobs. A purchase can buy attention, time, health, or leverage. Attention means you actually use it and remember using it. Not because it is available. Not because you might use it later. Because it gets a real part of your week. Time means it removes a recurring burden. Not a one-time annoyance you could have handled once. A real repeat problem. Health means it supports sleep, food, movement, medical care, stability, or a calmer nervous system. Leverage means it improves your ability to earn, repair, learn, negotiate, or avoid a bigger cost. Everything else is identity rent. Identity rent is sneaky because it looks respectable. It lets you feel organized, premium, efficient, generous, athletic, creative, or on top of life without changing the day you actually live. It hides in annual plans, bundles, warranties, delivery habits, app upgrades, storage units, gadgets, and replacement cycles. You do not beat it with shame. You beat it with a receipt-level question. What got easier last month because I paid for this? If the answer is vague, the price needs to be challenged. This also protects good spending. When everything feels suspicious, people cut the easiest visible pleasures and leave the invisible drains alone. That is backwards. A weekly dinner with friends may be worth more than 3 apps you never open. A reliable pair of shoes may be worth more than a premium tier you use twice. The point is to defend the spending that gives life texture and fire the spending that only performs identity. There is a social trap here too. People keep bad spending because they do not want to look cheap, inconsistent, or behind. But mature money management is mostly the willingness to disappoint stale expectations. You can be generous and cancel the app. You can have taste and skip the premium tier. You can care about health and refuse the gadget. The adult move is not proving you can pay. It is knowing when paying no longer serves the life you are building. First, subscriptions you do not rotate. A streaming service can be worth it. A news app can be worth it. A software subscription can be worth it. What stopped being worth it is keeping 5 little doors open, because one day you might walk through them. S&P Global reported US consumers averaged 3.6 video subscriptions in 2025, and seasonal add and drop behavior had grown. A 2026 Nerd Wallet survey Signal reported that 55% of people plan to reduce subscription spending. The market has already taught the new rule. Subscriptions are rentals, not vows. Pick a watch month, pick a work month, pick a learning month, then cancel the rest until it is their turn again. The relief is not only the money, it is fewer tiny claims on your attention. Your bank statement should not look like a waiting room full of companies hoping you forget they exist. A practical rotation can be almost embarrassingly simple. Keep one main entertainment subscription, one learning or work subscription, and one flex slot. Put the rest on a list called later. Later is powerful because it tells your brain you are not losing the option forever. You are only refusing to prepay for a future mood that may never arrive. Do the cancellation in batches if you have to. 15 minutes, one password reset, one cancellation screen, one confirmation email saved. Then quit for the day. Companies count on the task feeling like a swamp, so make it a sidewalk, small, dry, repeatable. The first month, the dollar amount may be modest. The second effect is bigger. Recurring charges stop feeling like background weather and start feeling like contracts that must reapply for the job. Second, premium delivery as the default answer to being tired. Delivery is not evil. It is a tool. It is worth paying for when illness, caregiving, overtime, bad weather, or a real time crunch makes the alternative costly. The problem is normal hunger getting routed through the most expensive possible door. The bill is not just the delivery fee. It is menu markup, service fee, tip, smaller portions, impulse add-ons, and the loss of a simple fallback meal at home. USDA-RS updated its food price page in March 2026, and the BLS February 2026. CPI release still showed several grocery groups increasing. Food is already a high-attention category. Paying a premium on top of grocery pressure needs a reason. The fix is not becoming a meal prep monk. It is owning 3 boring meals you can assemble half awake. The fallback meal needs to be easier than ordering, not prettier than a cookbook. Frozen vegetables, eggs, rice, canned beans, pasta, rotisserie chicken, soup, yogurt, or whatever fits your diet and culture. The best version is the one you will actually use when tired. You are building a pressure valve, not auditioning for a lifestyle channel. That is why grocery planning should be treated as infrastructure, not virtue. A fallback meal is not a personality. It is a circuit breaker. It protects you from the most expensive version of hunger. Tired, undecided, and scrolling. When the fallback exists, delivery becomes a choice again. You can still choose it. But now the choice has to beat an option already in the kitchen. Third, check out warranties that sell fear in the final 5 seconds. There are exceptions. Expensive electronics, fragile devices, medical equipment, items used for work, and products with known failure patterns. But many checkout warranties are priced for the seller first. They appear at the exact emotional moment when you are imagining loss, damage, embarrassment, and the stupid feeling of having said no. A warranty is worth considering when the replacement cost would hurt. The failure risk is credible. The terms are clear, and you will remember the coverage exists. It is not worth much when the item is cheap. The claim process is slow, or the coverage excludes the accident you are actually worried about. The better move is a tiny self-insurance bucket. Decline weak warranties and move a few dollars into a repair line. If nothing breaks, you keep the upside. If something does, there is money waiting. Write the warranty language when the number is meaningful. If you would not spend 5 minutes reading the terms, that is a clue. The item may not deserve the warranty. Sellers know the fear is vivid at checkout, and the paperwork is dull. Later, your edge is refusing to buy protection you cannot explain in one sentence. The self-insurance bucket also does something psychologically useful. It turns every declined warranty into a visible deposit instead of a vague risk. After a few months, You can see that many feared breakdowns did not happen. That evidence builds confidence. The goal is not to reject every warranty. The goal is to stop buying tiny fear contracts without comparing them to your own reserve. Fourth, status upgrades on products you barely use. The premium gym tier when you use one treadmill. The credit card with travel perks when you travel twice a year. The deluxe app plan when the free version did the job. The larger storage unit for objects you do not visit. A status upgrade is dangerous because it feels like self-respect. It says, I am the kind of person who has options. Sometimes that is true. Sometimes options are clutter with nicer lighting. The honest question is not, can I afford the better tier? It is, did the better tier change my behavior? If you upgraded and still use the product the same way, downgrade. If you upgraded and the better tier genuinely made the habit stick, keep it. The goal is not austerity. The goal is refusing to pay extra for an imaginary version of yourself. Downgrading can feel weirdly personal because upgrades become part of how we describe ourselves. But the statement is not a biography. It is a map of transactions. You are allowed to change the map when the terrain changes. Run a downgrade rehearsal before you cancel. Ask what would actually break if you moved down one tier for 30 days. Would your work slow down? Would your health habit disappear? Would your family lose something important? Or would the only loss be the premium feeling when you open the app? That distinction is worth money. Real function deserves funding. Premium atmosphere needs to earn its rent. Fifth, cheap clothes that fail the calendar test. A low price is not a bargain if the item looks tired after 6 washes, needs a second purchase to complete the outfit, or survives only one season of real life. This is where spending less can get expensive. The better question is cost per confident wear. A simple shirt worn 40 times can beat a trendy bargain worn twice. A repairable shoe can beat 3 disposable pairs. You do not need a capsule wardrobe manifesto. You need a waiting period for clothes that are trying to solve a mood. Put the item on a list for 7 days. If you still know where you would wear it, what it replaces, and how you would wash it, maybe it belongs. If you cannot answer those questions, it was entertainment, not clothing. Clothes are one of the easiest categories to improve without becoming extreme. Choose fewer experiments and better repeaters. Notice fabrics that survive your laundry, colors that match what you already wear, and shapes that make mornings easy. The goal is not minimalism as an aesthetic. The goal is fewer small regrets hanging in the closet. A closet reset works best when it is based on observation rather than rules from strangers. Pull the 10 things you wear most. They are giving you data, color, fit, fabric, comfort, maintenance, identity. Then compare new purchases against those winners. This makes style cheaper because you stop buying alternate lives. You buy for the life that already leaves evidence in your laundry basket. Sixth, fees paid for disorganization, late fees, overdraft fees, rush shipping, replacement fees, cancellation fees, convenience fees, and interest from avoidable timing. Mistakes are boring. That is why they work. They do not feel like purchases. They feel like weather. But fees are often the most disrespectful spending in a household because they buy nothing you wanted. This is where automation can be worth more than another budget app. Put due dates in one calendar. Move recurring bills to one card if that card is paid in full. Set a low balance alert. Keep one ugly buffer that is not for shopping, not for investing, not for optimizing. It is for preventing the machine from charging you because life got busy. The best financial product is sometimes a boring reminder that fires before the penalty does. Fees deserve a weekly 5-minute ritual because they multiply in silence. Look only for preventable penalties, duplicate charges, and timing problems. Do not turn the ritual into a moral trial. Fix one leak, automate one reminder, move one due date, or cancel one useless add-on. Then stop. Consistency beats a dramatic budget session you avoid for months. Fee prevention is one of the least glamorous forms of wealth, but it has a clean emotional payoff. Every prevented fee is a little proof that the system did not get to tax your exhaustion. Alerts are not signs that you are bad with money. They are guardrails for a busy life. Smart people use guardrails because attention is limited. Seventh, replacing tech because the marketing cycle moved. Phones, laptops, tablets, headphones, and cameras now mature faster than most people can use the improvements. If your current device holds a charge, runs the software you need, takes the photos you actually share, and does not slow down your work, the upgrade has to clear a high bar. The old question was, is the new one better? Of course it is better. The useful question is, better at what I do every week? If the answer is brighter screen, slightly sharper camera, thinner body, and social freshness, wait. Spend first on the thing that extends the device you own. Battery replacement, storage cleanup, protective case, repair, or a clean setup. Buying another year from an existing device is not falling behind. It is refusing to let a product calendar make personal decisions for you. Tech companies are excellent at making last year feel embarrassing. That feeling is expensive. A device that performs its job is not old in the way food gets old. It is old in the way a hammer gets old. Maybe scratched, maybe unfashionable, still useful. Upgrade when friction is real and repeated, not when the keynote makes your current tool feel impolite. For tech, the cleanest rule is upgrade from pain, not envy. Pain has receipts. Crashes, missed work, battery failure, storage limits, security updates ending, repair costs that no longer make sense. Envy has a vibe. It arrives after reviews, launch videos, and comparison charts. Wait until the problem appears in your own week. Your week is a better reviewer than the product cycle. Eighth, wellness products that outsource basic care. Supplements, gadgets, trackers, powders, and apps can be useful. But the wellness market loves selling a complicated substitute for the obvious thing you are exhausted to do. Sleep enough, walk, cook something normal, see a doctor when needed, drink water, reduce alcohol, get sunlight, call someone, stop scrolling in bed. A product is worth it when it supports a behavior you already practice or helps remove a specific barrier. It is not worth it when it becomes a receipt for a life you meant to start. Before buying the product, run the free version for 14 days. The free version is the behavior. If you cannot do the behavior without the product is probably not the bottleneck. If you can do it and the product makes it easier, then it may deserve a place. The wellness test is useful because hope is easy to monetize. If the product gives you a structure you will follow, fine. If it gives you a story about the disciplined person you are about to become, pause. The first version of most health improvements is boring and free. Products should support that version, not replace it. Walk for 2 weeks before buying the tracker. Sleep on a schedule before buying the sleep stack. Cook 3 normal breakfasts before buying the powder subscription. If the basic habit gives you value, then a tool may amplify it. If the basic habit never starts, the tool will probably become another object asking for faith. Ninth, courses and tools bought instead of a project. Learning is leverage when it changes what you can build, fix, sell, write, negotiate, or understand. It becomes expensive procrastination when every new course delays the first ugly attempt. The internet is full of paid confidence. It says the missing piece is the right framework, the right community, the right dashboard, the right certificate. Sometimes it is. Often the missing piece is 20 uncomfortable hours making something small enough to finish. Buy education when it has a deadline, feedback, practice, and a clear next action. Avoid education that sells identity without friction. A course should leave evidence in the world. A portfolio item, a better process, a solved problem, a cheaper mistake, a new client conversation. If it only leaves notes, it may have been entertainment dressed as ambition. Demand output before another input. 1 page written, 1 sales email sent, 1 spreadsheet built, 1 repair attempted, 1 practice conversation recorded. Output reveals what you actually need to learn next. Without output, learning becomes a polished hiding place. You feel productive because you are consuming serious material, while the real skill remains untested. A good paid program should compress feedback, not merely organize information. Information is abundant, feedback is scarce, deadlines are scarce, skilled critique is scarce. A community that actually notices your work is scarce, paid for scarcity. Be careful with beautiful libraries of lessons that leave you alone with infinite tabs. Infinite tabs are not leverage, they are a nicer form of avoidance. 10th, appearance maintenance that does not protect value or joy. Cars and homes need maintenance. Ignoring real maintenance gets expensive fast. But there is another category. Cosmetic upgrades both because the object feels behind the neighbors, the feed, or the showroom. The premium car wash plan for a car you no longer notice. Decor bought before storage is solved. Smart devices that add apps but not comfort. Kitchen gadgets that avoid the harder question of what you actually cook. Spend on maintenance that prevents damage, lowers stress, improves safety, or makes daily routines easier. Be skeptical of upgrades that mainly photograph well. A home should make Tuesday easier. A car should move you reliably. If the upgrade only performs for other people, it needs to be cheap enough that you would still buy it with nobody watching. The same rule works for homes and cars. Maintain what protects function, safety, and calm. Be slower with improvements that mainly create a before and after photo. There is nothing wrong with beauty. Beauty matters. But beauty bought on credit, stored in clutter, or maintained with stress can become another job. The best upgrades reduce the number of jobs your life has to manage. The final test is renewal. Anything recurring should face renewal, even if the company renews it automatically. Put a monthly calendar block called renew or release. During that block, do not build a whole budget. Just look at recurring and premium charges. For each one, ask which of the four jobs it performed: attention, time, health, or leverage. If it cannot answer, it rests. Not forever, just until it has a job again. The point is not to become smaller. It is to stop letting stale defaults crowd out the things that still work. Keep the subscription you love. Pay for delivery when it protects a hard day. Buy the course that makes you produce. Upgrade the device that truly slows your work. Spend gladly on health, repair, rest, friendship, tools, and time. But make every recurring or premium expense earn its renewal. In 2026, a good money rule is not only spend less, it is stop paying for things whose best days were in the advertisement. Once a month, open the statement and mark each line with one word: attention, time, health, leverage, or cancel. That little ritual turns cutting back from punishment into editing. And editing is generous. It gives your money fewer jobs, so the jobs that remain can actually matter.